What's poppin' YouTube? It's your boy Sabby. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. Welcome to my channel, Self Mastery. Today's topic, how to become an individual, how to get to know yourself. Because this is the question that matters, right? Stay tuned, guys, until the very end, because in this episode, we will together explore the concept of what it means to be an individual, what it means to stand apart from the crowd. Not because we want to be cool. No, it's not about that. It's because we want to know who we really are. Tune in, tap into our authentic self. That's what this video is about, guys. So please stay tuned. Also subscribe to my channel because I have a lot more content coming your way. Content that will empower you, uplift you, teach you, impart upon you all this wisdom that I have learned throughout the years, and I'm still learning, guys. So please always be aware of that. But my job, my duty that I feel is my responsibility is to share whatever I know with anyone that is out here on this journey, and so please share this content with anyone that you feel like could use this information, guys. And also like and comment your thoughts down below. Without further ado, let's get started. So here's the thing. When we think of self, we usually think of our name. We think of, who we are as a personality. All of that, could be an aspect of your identity, of course. But let me tell you something. You are not your identity. You are beyond your identity. You are beyond this egoic identity that you have created through conditioning. We are placed in many different environments throughout our life, and so we believe that, we are all these ideas and thoughts and beliefs that we've picked up pretty much from our family, because that itself is an environment, right? Everything that we grow up learning from our parents, what they teach us, the wisdom that they impart upon us, right? Whatever habits we pick up just by observing them and their behavior, right? If we have strong and parents with high self-esteem that express their love, we become just like them. But if it's the complete opposite, right? If we have parents that have low self-esteem, that are always fighting, right? Then we pick up those patterns as well, guys. And you've seen this in your own life, but you've also seen this in the lives of others, right? And we are a product of that environment. Let's think about schooling, right? And for us, many of us are in school for a long time. Some people are, obviously some people end after the 4 years of bachelor's. Some people go on to do master's and PhD, so it's like you're in school for such a long time and you're learning from your teachers, professors, right? Your peers, colleagues, other students that are in your classroom. Also the books that you read, the classes that you take, the subjects you expose yourself to. We're just adopting beliefs of others. That's really what we're doing. And of course, I'm not saying that you aren't educated or that, you don't know trigonometry or calculus. Of course, you may know all these things. But here's the thing. You also are a product of that environment as well. You also are different than someone who didn't go to school, not because they're less educated, but because they weren't exposed to the environment that you were exposed to. Let's continue this further, right? If you were a religious person growing up, right? Maybe you were seen in, church or Bible study, or maybe you went to Sunday school. Maybe you grew up in a Christian family or a Jewish family, because I know the Jewish Orthodox Jews are very strict about, learning the Torah, the beliefs, that they grow up with, and the beliefs of their ancestors and generations upon generations, right? Whether you're a Muslim, pretty much you grew up in that environment as well. And guess what? You learned all of that. And that became you. All of this is conditioning, guys. Whatever environment that you are placed in, you are conditioning yourself to almost mirror that environment, to become a product of that environment. At face value, guys, that's really what we are that product. And so we believe ourselves to be an individual, but are we really, right? That's the question to ask. Are we really an individual? How much of all of this was our conscious decision? Let's talk about the difference between a collective and an individual. And I'm going to get into this, and then we can all tie it together to where you can understand what it really means to know who you are. The collective will always be there. There's always going to be a group of people that believe certain beliefs, that hold on to certain ideas or have, a particular ideology, and they live by that, right? And these collectives can be seen all around you. No matter where you are in life, there's a collective at work. There's a collective at school, like I mentioned, right? There's a collective at, your baseball team is a collective. The karate lessons you take, all the students there are, a collective. If you go to the gym, the gym is a collective, right? Every place that you go to where it's a group of people that think the same, that believe the same, that act the same, that behave the same, that is a collective, also known as group think, right? If you ever are in a group and you start straying away from the group, right? You are outcasted, you're rejected, right? You can be ridiculed, you can be made fun of, they can threaten you. Obviously if you're in a cult-like group, you can get kicked out. A lot can happen, guys, and this has happened for centuries upon centuries, right? From civilization to civilization, guys, it has always been about fitting in, being part of the collective. And if you didn't, right, you were the loner. You were, in a way, your survival depended at some point, probably not so much now, but at some point your survival depended upon you fitting into that group, right? Because if you didn't, you wouldn't have safety of the group, you wouldn't have protection from the group, you wouldn't, have a place to stay, maybe, some warm food to eat. You would have to be on your own if you decided that, hey, I don't want to be a part of this collective anymore. I don't want to think like they think. I don't want to do the same things that they do. Obviously, guess what? You're kicked out, right? You're left by yourself, because if you don't obey the rules, if you don't obey, what it means to be a part of the collective, then guess what? They don't want you. They don't want you there because they don't want other people to be influenced by you as well. What does it mean to be an individual now? What does it mean to know yourself now? Because we have to discuss it, right? We have to talk about it. You see, what separates us from the animals, what separates us from all other organisms on this planet is the fact that we can think. We are thinking beings. A dog cannot think, because for there to be a thought, there has to be a thinker. And you see, the thinker must realize that he is thinking or she is thinking to realize that there is a thought. However, no other species on this planet has the beauty of thought, right? Has the faculty of thought. Thought is only unique to us because thought requires self-consciousness. You have to be conscious of the thinker. You have to be conscious of the self to be conscious of the thought, right? I hope I'm not getting too technical, right? But we are self-conscious beings. That's why we can even question, ourselves. That's why we can even reflect upon ourselves. That's why we can even, analyze and figure out, why we do the things we do, or, be aware of ourselves. You see, animals, they just live through instincts, right? They don't have, a philosophical idea of who they are. They don't get into stuff like that. Their main objective is really survival, and survival is, just within their instinct system, right? It's something that just comes naturally to them, right? When they're hungry, they go hunt for food and they go eat. If they have to procreate, they go find a mate, or if they have to fight to make sure that, they're not killed, they do so. But that's literally all it is to be an animal of any sort. But what it means to be a human being, what it means to be a human, is to be able to think, to have the power of thought, to have the beauty of thought. And so the thing is, as human beings, we take this for granted. We know that we are thinking beings, but how many actually know that we are thinking beings? Right? We don't think about it that often. It's like blinking, or it's like breathing. We don't even pay any attention to the fact that we think. And that's the funny part, right? Because the individual, what separates the individual from the collective is the fact that the individual values thinking, guys. I'll repeat that again for all the people in the back that didn't hear me, right? The difference between an individual and the collective is that the individual values thinking. He knows the power of thinking. He knows that he has or she has the power to think whatever they want, to think anything that they want, to think for themselves, to think critically, to think logically, to think with reason, to make their own decisions, to choose their own path, to choose their own destiny. Let's take religion, for example. Maybe you grew up in a religious household, right? Maybe religion was forced down upon you. And guess what? You had to adopt it, right? You had to absorb it. But what if, at an early age, you had the option, you had the choice to pick for yourself, the path you wanted to go down upon? Obviously, we believe the religion we grew up in is the right religion because it's so ingrained within us. It's so imprinted within us. We believe it to be nothing but facts because we grew up believing that stuff, right? Our parents programmed us. But the individual goes back, right? The individual deprograms. The individual asks, once again, the basic questions of life. Who am I? What am I here to do? What is my meaning? What is my purpose? What is my mission? What path do I want to take? What choices do I want to make? And you see many people fear that because it puts them in a vulnerable spot, right? It puts them in a place where they have to once again start fresh, start new, leave what's familiar, right? Leave what's comfortable behind and start this journey of the unknown, self-exploration, self-discovery. And that, guys, takes guts. It's fearful for many people to let go of beliefs and ideas and ideologies that they've been holding on to, concepts and theories and all of the stuff that, they've just been absorbing from everybody around them. You see, all we do is just regurgitate everything that people have, shared with us throughout the years of our lives. To be an individual means you think for yourself. You don't do what the group tells you to do. You do what resonates within your heart. You follow the path, that is in most resonance to you. You follow your intuition. You follow your gut feeling, right? If you want to study Buddhism, but you grew up in a Christian household, by all means, you should. Nothing should stop you, right? If you want to convert because you believe that, hey, maybe the faith I grew up in isn't the right faith, do so. If you feel like culture is holding you back, if you feel like, you can't marry outside your culture, if you feel like, your culture has kept you limited, if you feel like your nationality, your race, your own people, right, have left you limited, guys, no one's telling you to be a part of that collective anymore. You can, for yourself, start fresh, right? Figure out what it means to be you. And so, guys, for that, you have to value thinking and also realize the fact that, look, thinking creates my reality. Whatever I want to create, right? It's a thought first in my mind. That's all it is. The iPhone that I'm using to record this video, right? It was first a thought before it ever came into fruition as a physical product. And so this goes with everything, right? The ability to think your life any way you want to think, to choose and make your own conscious decisions based on what feels right to you, what you want to do, what you want to explore. And yes, you are going to make mistakes along the way. That's what it means to be an individual, that you also own up to your mistakes, that you know that, hey, this journey is my own, and I'm going to come across challenges, I'm going to come across obstacles, but that's what being an individual is all about, is to be able to navigate through all of that. To know what it means that, hey, at least this path that I chose, nobody forced me upon this path. Nobody told me this is the path to take. I took this path from my own understanding, from my own realizations. You see what I mean? And guys, that's why you really have to first separate yourself from the collective, unlearn everything you know, and then start fresh from a new vantage point and begin your journey then. Learn to really value thinking. Also, guys, to be an individual and also to start getting to know yourself, you're going to have to be alone, right? That could be most of your time is spent alone, studying what you want to study, learning what you want to, learn, spending time just sitting in silence with yourself, being there by yourself. You see, so many of us can't even be alone without distractions. without the phone bothering us, without social media, occupying our attention, without the TV or video games or phone calls. No, guys, be by yourself. Look within. Meditate, pray. Another thing I want to say is that the journey of the individual, it's not an overnight journey, right? You cannot become an individual overnight. It takes many years. It is an arduous path. It is something that you have to walk, right, for many years, maybe until the day you die or transition into the next life or whatever that realm is, guys. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not an easy path, but it is a worthwhile journey, guys. It's a journey because here's the thing, right? You make all the conscious decisions. You choose for yourself who you want to study, who you want to learn from, who you want to be surrounded with, right? Who you want to be, where you want to be, what kind of person you want to be. Your journey into spirituality, your journey into psychology. You see, being an individual is not about, I drive a Benz and I wear a 3-piece suit and I stand out because I dress better than people. I'm an individual. Sure, maybe you're dressing maybe a form of, individuality, an expression of individuality, but it's not the entirety of individuality. Because to be an individual, guys, like I said, you have to be a completely sovereign individual. You govern yourself. No one else governs you. You govern your own mind. You govern your own life. You are the only authority in your life, if not the Most High. And even then, guys, it's up to you whether you believe in that or not. I'm not the one to tell you anything. I chose that for myself. And so you may choose that for yourself or you may not. That's all up to you. But guys, that's the thing. It's all up to you. And you have to understand that. It's always been up to you. But first, you must deprogram yourself from everything that you know to be true, because everything, right, is an extension of the collective. And learn for yourself and figure out for yourself what path you want to go down upon, what road you want to walk. I'll leave it at that, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode, guys. Please subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode. Take care. Peace.